Steph, these two defensive teams coming in here with Houston, I think it's like third and fourth in goals allowed. What are you expecting come tomorrow? And obviously, both jockeying for playoff position here.
Yeah, it's going to be a good game. I mean, these matches in conference matchups obviously matter in the beginning of season too, but especially once the picture becomes a bit clearer towards the end of the year, you feel like these games are big games. So we're happy that we get to play against opponents where it really matters for us. So it kind of gives us a chance to have something in our own hands. Having said that, yeah, they're a really good side. I think defensively they're decent, but as stats show, also they're probably one of the best possession-based teams in the league. I think they actually may even overtaken Columbus now in terms of average possession per game. And I'd argue that they know what to do with possession. It's constructive. It's not just possession for the sake of 20 passes equals a point. And so we're going to have to be very careful in terms of not being too stretched, making sure that we are not getting broken down and then having to chase, because I think their midfield is strong. They have some guys at top that we haven't really faced yet as well. So they have good players. It's going to be a tough matchup for us.
In terms of your defense, despite some late lapses, and we'll talk about San Jose, I guess, is that one of them that kind of illustrates that. Your defense has been pretty good overall this season. Would you agree with that, just despite those late lapses, maybe?
Yeah, and I'm always the optimist, and I think for us, I try to focus on the fact that we find ourselves in situations where we could win games, and we need to do better in situations. But the fact that we're up by a goal and is a good sign, so that we need to obviously improve how to close it and make it count. But we're almost there. We've done most of the hard work, and now it's just about staying sharp to the very end as a whole unit to make sure that we reap full rewards.
What kind of went down on that? Like as far as like reviewing video and things like that, what broke down there at the end?
I think for me, goals. You can always look at goals as individual plays, but the beauty of our sport is that I think pressures mount or players or teams get pushed back, and it kind of ebbs and flows. And the biggest difference that I think I noticed and maybe some of my teammates noticed from the game before against Kansas, we were quite compact against Kansas, and when we pushed out, when we were able to have them turn over the ball, we were very explosive. We were able to punish them, maybe not even as much as we could have. I think on that game we could have probably been 6-0 if everything goes well. But still, I think we all felt that we came out of that game somewhat fresh. So I think our efficiency was quite high. And then in the San Jose game, obviously it was a short turnaround, but we tried to find the third goal, couldn't find it. We tried to chase and put pressure on them. They would get out and nothing would come of it on our side. So it was an accumulation of I think that energy expenditure that ended up pushing us back, and maybe even also what's the first thing that goes when you're tired? It's usually mentally, right? And that's when maybe we just lost focus for a split second. It seemed quite innocent on the left side. They just kind of come around, we lose our mark in the middle, and it's a goal. That's the game. But I think solving that problem, and obviously you can look at that one individual scene, but I think solving that problem for me is more about how can we make sure that we don't deteriorate into that state over a prolonged 10, 15, 20 minutes of action.
With Jackson and his growth since 2022 when he first got here, what have you seen that's grown the most, and what he's contributed this year?
I think from the very beginning when he joined us, you sense quite quickly that he has it. He's obviously got the frame that you need to have in the back. He's quite level-headed. The Chat 2.0 joke started quite early on.
Oh, it's a joke.
It's a joke, but I think he realized that it comes with a lot of respect. It's not hey you're goofy like Chad, but Chad was one of the best defenders I think in the league. Period. And when you see certain aspects that that Jackson has in his game that resemble what Chad had, then I think that's a huge honor if someone calls you Chad 2.0. So, I'm happy that he's re-signing. I hope he got everything that he wanted and he deserves. Having said that, yesterday I told him, look, you're not the young guy anymore now. I think you can take charge of this defense. You can control this defense. You can lead it because obviously he's also quite an integral part in our offense, I think. He's become that pivot in the back that kind of orchestrates things, stays patient for as long as we need, and then when we see an opening to be explosive, I think he facilitates that, and he's capable of doing it with his technique as well. As I've seen with any player that's been successful, I think it starts up here, having a good head, being humble, being willing to show up to training and always work hard. When you have success, can you still dig deeper and try to find more success? When you have failure, can you dig deeper to try to get better and erase those mistakes? And I think I've seen all of that from him, and so that's a very, very good sign. I'm super happy to have him on my squad, and I'm super happy for him to get rewarded with a new contract.
Is he goofy?
He's a little goofy. I mean, how can you not be goofy when you're that big and you do a one-step 90-yard ball? Like I don't think he can do that without being goofy. So it's just that sometimes he's a little kid stuck in a big body, but he's a good guy. I think everybody on a team likes him. Gets along with everybody, so nothing negative to say about the guy.
When you're approaching a game like Houston, is it more opportunity or challenge, or how do you there's a lot at stake in this game, there's a lot at stake in these next the 3 games after that. Like, what sort of mentality do you take into those?
It's a bit of both, but I think if you try to focus on yourself more, then you're looking at opportunity. And if you believe in yourself, then I think we're talking more about opportunity. And I've always said that I think we have a good squad. If we come out strong tomorrow, do the things that we know we need to do defensively to minimize their potency, and at the same time, we're playing to our strengths offensively, and we're lethal on the counters. Even to a really, really small extent, if we do that in the first 5-10 minutes, I think we set ourselves up for a lot of positives to come out of that game. But again, that's in a way that's the beauty of our game too, of the sport. You'd never know what happens. In our league, parity is there. Any team can win against another team. There's ebbs and flows. The first 10 minutes are massive. They can really dictate how a half goes. So we want to be on the front foot and make ourselves feel like we're the more likely one to get something out of it.
Last couple guys.
Oh, well, I just wanted to rewind a little bit, because it's of my opinion that some of the goals that the team had against Columbus, despite having a field player in goal, those were tough things that any goalkeeper would have had a challenge maybe with. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to get your opinion. I mean, I think you've seen them by now, and do you think, like Albert, like the placement of those would have challenged a goalkeeper rather than a field player?
Yeah, your assessment's probably right. I think some of those were really good finishes. I think Jordan's is a good individual run and then play it to the outside, and then he beats his defender. There's not much you can do as a goalkeeper. I think Albert's maybe the free kick is the one where you're kind of. I mean, I'm sitting at home screaming, hit it to the keeper side, hit it to the keeper side, hit it, make a save, because 90% of people think that he's going to go over the wall, and as a goalkeeper, even if you're just leaning the slightest to one side, you're never coming back. And in that instance, I think even if he wasn't to lean, if Albert hit it well, it would have been a difficult thing to do, but he leans and then he's toast. So that's the one where maybe not having an actual goalkeeper in goal had some play in it. The third goal, or was it Albert's third? Albert's, yeah. I mean, that's just a really good, your assessment's probably right that those were good finishes.
About Jordan, one of the criticisms of him over the years has been he can be sometimes a little one-dimensional. Have you seen that change at all this year, where he's added different elements to his game and become more of a more rounded number 9?
What are his stats? You guys probably know.
He's having a career year.
Yeah, I know he's having. Yeah, so As a guy up top, we're hoping the guys up top will score, right? And if you're one-dimensional and teams can't figure it out, please go ahead and be one-dimensional. I really don't care. If we can figure out to get Jordan in positions where teams will not have an answer to his athleticism, then that's almost upon us to get more into those one-sided or one-dimensional ways of playing and using him, because if it works, if it don't broke, don't fix it, right? No, I think he's doing exactly what he needs to do and then some. Opponents are not having the answer to it, and we need to fully lean into that.